Horns up and welcome to a brand new episode of Headbanger Eats. My name is Sahil and you've been bamboozled. Now, roast chicken is not something that most Indians have grown up eating. But I have, because in my house it was roast chicken, tuna salad, pasta and all kinds of western food. But in India, we don't really cook with the oven a lot, and most chicken sold is without skin. So roast chicken in India is not quite like what you get in the West. In fact, in most restaurants, roast chicken is just sort of a pan cooked piece of chicken with some sort of random brown sauce on it. Of course, nowadays you get proper roast chicken with mashed potatoes and all the other accompaniments as well. But in my house, roast chicken was kind of made differently. But most of you would not call it a roast chicken. But it's my mom's recipe and it's been handed down to me, and I have of course tweaked it a little bit. But I'm going to make it for you guys today. And I also ate this during my Athlean X Food Challenge. If you haven't seen that video, click here on the I button and watch it. Anyway, enough jibber jabber, let's cook. So the first thing I'm going to do is marinate the chicken, and I'm using boneless and skinless leg meat. Now I'm going to marinate this using some Worcestershire sauce, a nice generous dousing of it, some soya sauce. Once again, just eyeball it, or if you want exact measurements, go to headbangerskitchen.com. Just a wee bit of sesame oil, some freshly ground black pepper, and a little bit of salt, not too much. And of course you give this all a good mix, and the longer you can leave this to marinate, the better it is. Now you can also use chicken breast for this recipe, you can use chicken thighs, you can choose to keep the skin on if you like, but trust me, don't do that because the skin will get soggy. Anyway, once that's done, let it marinate. Now to cook the chicken, I'm going to use a non-stick pan, and I'm going to turn on my stove and let the pan heat up. We're not going to use any oil for this recipe because we've already marinated the chicken and used some oil in that. So anyway, once the pan is hot, put those pieces of chicken in and let them cook. Now I'm starting this out at a highish heat so that I can get some color on the chicken. But as I continue with the cook, I'm going to adjust the heat as required so that I can cook the chicken all the way through without burning it. Anyway, once you've cooked it for a few minutes on one side, I'm going to flip it over now. And you can see that the chicken has got a lovely dark color. And no, it's not burnt, but you know what? The sugars in the sauces do caramelize quite fast. So you got to keep an eye on it. Anyway, I'm also going to pour over the rest of the marinade that was left over. And I'm going to make sure that the heat is turned down a little bit now, so that the chicken takes a little more time to cook and cooks all the way through. Anyway, just let it cook, and you can probably flip it over one more time and let it cook for a minute or two. Now chicken thighs take a little more time than say a chicken breast. A chicken breast takes about 3 to 4 minutes max on each side. A thigh may take 6 to 8 minutes depending on how big the piece is. Or a leg, sorry, I'm using legs. Anyway, flip it over, and once it's done, take it out of the pan. And now, just on a whim, since I had some oyster mushrooms in my fridge, I just threw them into that pan. I seasoned them with a little bit of salt. I threw in some water, which will also help deglaze the pan. And then of course I gave everything a good mix. And now on a medium heat, I'm just going to let these mushrooms cook. And these mushrooms are going to soak up all those pan juices. Speaking of which, I'm going to pour in all the resting juices from the chicken as well, because that's where a lot of flavor is. Anyway, cook the mushrooms. They don't take more than a few minutes. And once all the liquid dries up and it soaks into the mushroom, give it just a minute more to get some caramelization. And once that's happened, we're going to turn the heat off. Now I'm going to put those mushrooms into a plate. And onto those mushrooms, I'm going to place my chicken. This is just me being fancy. You can serve it any way you like. And then of course once that chicken is placed, I'm going to finish it off with some white sesame seeds and some chopped spring onion. Because you know what, this just makes it look so fancy and beautiful. And it also adds a little flavor. Hey, let's not discount that. Anyway, that looks incredible. Time to taste. Hey folks, it's time to taste what is definitely not a roast chicken. And I'm super excited. I just want to ask you guys a question. Do you prefer cooking shows where the chef tastes the dish at the end of the recipe video? Or do you just prefer that the video ends when the recipe is done? Let me know in the comments below. I'm going to dig in. Oh. This brings back memories of my childhood. Minus the tahini and the green onions, of course. I mean, not tahini, sorry, sesame seeds. I mean, tahini is sesame seeds, but anyway, that's a... Enough jibber jabber. Oh, those mushrooms. Full of flavor. Yummy. So folks, I really hope you guys are going to try and make this at home. And definitely let me know what you thought of the recipe. For me, this is memories. Of course, my mother used to make it with the entire chicken in a wok. So, but it's pretty much tastes the same. Anyway, enough jibber jabber. I will see you guys on the next episode of Headbanger Eats. Till then, cheers and keep cooking. Unlike most Indians, while I was going out, I eat. And you've been bamboozled. And you've been bamboozled. Like something that most...